Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to episode 51 of Into the Nexus, the podcast about heroes of the storm. At some point, Kyle, I'm going to stop thinking that I'm going to say Hearthstone or Heroes. My brain does this thing where it's like, which H word are you trying to talk about?
and you then fell into the secondary trap, which is Heroes of Warcraft.
Yeah. And one of these days, I'm going to just intro with Heart of the Swarm and just see if you notice.
Probably won't. My brain is nothing but acronyms these days.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Is it? What other anachronisms?
Too many hots. I can't think of any other at the moment.
There you go. I'm Garrett Weinzierl. He is Kyle Ferguson. This is Into the Nexus. Welcome, everyone. And if this is your first time tuning in because maybe you just started playing this week for I don't know what reason, maybe it's open beta. Actually, it is. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed the show.
The world's getting so sad. I love that I can buy my games instantly and digitally, but and now that I'm an adult too, I get to play my games whenever I want, even if I shouldn't be. So there's no sitting in my bed reading the N64 guide from Tuesday till Friday till I can finally play the thing. Like reading it on the bus, gotta stock up. Because weekend's the only time you get to do these things. Betas just happen.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Games go into full release without any sort of pomp and circumstance.
You had the instruction manual, which means you had the game, but you couldn't play it?
Yes, I was a very bad child. I ditched my homework quite a few times, so I had some rules placed on me while growing up.
So you would buy the game on Tuesday, even though you couldn't play it till Saturday?
I had to read up on the guide, man. Back when games came with booklets.
Oh, that's amazing. I do remember many lunches in God, whatever grade it was when Ocarina of Time came out, sitting there with the player's guide, reading about the next temple I was about to encounter when I got home from school.
Hell yeah, man. And, I still got away with a couple things. Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering. You could play those out with your friends. No one can really stop you. Game Boy was all right because that fit in my sweet cargo pants pocket. And we had one of those old JCPenney TVs that would get the little static like thumbprint on it in blue. So if I heard the garage door opening from far away, I could rub down the static on the TV and get rid of that real quick. Change it off of channel 91. You got to make sure you switch it to whatever channel it previously was.
And then you also have to switch it one channel and then back so that then they hit last channel. It doesn't go to 91.
Oh, thank goodness my parents were never good at that sort of thing.
Oh, I got busted for watching South Park at too young an age with that little trick.
No.
I got grounded.
South Park was great.
I got grounded for a month. They took the television out of my room.
Oh, wow.
It was like, it was locked away in the dungeon, a.k.a. the garage, which was the entire bottom floor because we lived in a flood zone.
Yeah, once I hid my report card, and that got me 2 months.
Ooh.
Of no video games during the summer.
Wow, I'd be in jail for killing my parents. That's how that story would have ended.
Yeah.
No one takes my Sega Genesis away. Nobody. Anyways, we're here to talk Heroes of the Storm. That was a delightful romp down memory lane. How's your week in?
Welcome.
How's your week in Heroes been? You did a stream on Tuesday.
I did, and I posted it over at amove.tv. Also on the YouTube, did some solo Q&A. Basically, it's me playing about 7 games of Heroes of the Storm and Heroes League, and stream of consciousness talking about what I'm paying attention to, what actions I'm making when, why I'm choosing the heroes I am in Heroes League. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of people showed up and appreciated it. So go check it out. I'm doing it again this next Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time.
That's awesome. I just realized over at Move TV and under the post for it, you posted your builds.
Yes, yeah, they're just the picture builds, nothing fancy, but if you're going through the build yourself, you can definitely tell. And if you watch the video, I'm explaining my choices as I make them. So some of them are a little weird. There's an Uther one that I'm sure lots of people would go, What is this? But we were winning really hard, so
did you like all the Hammer of Justice talents you could take and just become
no, the winning didn't
in?
happen until after the level 13 mark. So everything up to that point was pretty standard.
Gotcha. So no Stunadin for you. So,
it never works out.
It's fun, man. I like that build because it's on such a shorter cooldown. It's just delightful to always stun all the time.
Oh, dude, if I could, I'd go Wave of Light 100%, make it big, make it, do the extra damage over distance, make it refund some mana. That thing's great.
Gotcha. All right, man. Well, I'm
Yeah,
not
I've been
going
playing
to...
all Heroes League this week because Quick Match, I assumed, was a madhouse, given a couple of things. One, open beta. Two, free Lost Vikings.
Yeah, it was rough, to say the least. Some of the Lost Vikings play I have seen has really tested the goal I set for myself, which is to be a kind and helpful player in these trying times of the floodgates opening. Yeah, I really just had to be like, don't hit enter, don't start typing. Don't hit enter, don't start typing. Just leave them alone. Let them do what they're going to do. Oh my God, they have 8 deaths total. Just don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, 8 deaths. And they only count, if all of them die, they count for 0.75.
Right.
So
right.
you're getting an extra death to even get that one in there.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, if you
But
had
Heroes
4...
League's been good. It's, it's the kind of this gated community where all the older alpha, beta players are all playing around. Still can get toxic, but what can you do in there? And for the most part, it doesn't affect me. But now Kristen started joining me for Heroes League. She's high enough level. She has all the heroes. And man, I can take it. But when they go after Kristen, I get defensive. And I still haven't typed anything. But that just makes me feel worse, right? Because I got to defend.
No, man. No, it's 21st century, You don't have to defend your woman. She can defend herself. Also, I have met Kristen. You do not need to defend Kristen. Kristen can defend you.
Yeah, she can kick my butt, certainly.
Yeah. Guys, let's just say there's a reason she always plays some type of bruiser in our role-playing games.
Yep. D&D, or really, she's gravitated to Thrall. It's been excellent having one of those on the team.
Ooh, I'll have to see this. I haven't seen her Thrall play.
It's good.
Nice. So it's anything like her Murky play. I mean, Kristen can clearly make me a believer of just about any hero. She needs to start playing Abathur is what needs to happen. Because I was completely against. I was so against Murky. And then we played like 4 games in a row with her as Murky, and she just destroyed. It was wonderful.
Yeah, the one thing we're working on right now is Shark Mode, I call it, where it happens with a lot of mainly melee assassins, where you just see that guy going in the back and you just lose sight of everything else. Your vision just goes red and you dive so deep, end up getting yourself killed.
I don't know what you're talking. I've never experienced that, Kyle. Clearly.
No, I've never gotten into killing people and just
not once.
In somewhere you shouldn't be.
You definitely haven't ever seen me dive in with a lunar flare and just run in as Tyrande and try and kill everyone as if I was some type of high damage burst character.
With no hope of escape, yep.
Yeah, because lunar flare is off cooldown, and that is the end of that. Totally never happened. Absolutely. And with that in mind, let's get into some more honest stuff. Let's talk about this week's news.
We're on, boys! Ha ha! Let's liven up this place!
Can stitches play now?
Yeah, I love it when... Oh, cigar fell in the... Oh, wait!
Thank you, Tychus. That never gets old. Go over to itandcast.reddit.com if you want to submit a story for the show or continue discussing whatever it was we talked about this week. Big news this week, obviously, is that Heroes of the Storm is in open beta, and for all intents and purposes, it's here. It's live. It's just got that beta moniker for the next 2 weeks, just in case anything explodes or catches on fire. But,
yep, safety mode.
Right, exactly. It's just that little thing like, hey, guys, we are still working on it, just so you know. But,
and good that they did, because we went into this week with some pretty weird bugs.
Did we?
Oh, over the weekend? Oh my goodness. If you weren't seeing 1,000 Lilies, then clearly I don't know how this stuff happens. I don't know if there's the confusion comes from because there's a low number of Twitch viewers for this game right now. So people somehow, maybe it's the Reddit, I don't know, but instantly communicate bugs to each other, and Lily ended up with this bouncing serpent heal where you can, do her serpent on someone and its attacks heal. And then you can later spec for that to have a bouncing attack. Well, they accidentally had a bug in there that whenever it bounced, it did 100% of the damage as a heal. So she was completely overpowered.
Wow.
For the entire weekend.
Yeah, I may have been rushing through Witcher 2 to prepare for Tuesday this weekend, so I missed that. That and a lot of family stuff. But
well, the important stuff, right?
Yeah. As far as games are concerned, that's what took up my game time. But that I'm again one of those things. Wish I was playing Lily when that was an issue.
Yeah, it was something, not really out healing anyone, but the fact that you could throw a serpent on somebody and then leave them alone and they could be well supported was a bit of a problem. But they fixed it on the 19th. So by the time we actually hit real beta on Tuesday morning, we were good.
Yeah, it was great. So, and again, I just want to reiterate, everyone, it's open beta. Be nice to each other. If you're in quick match, be helpful. Be helpful.
And hey, they actually added a feature when they put out open beta that if you go back and do the tutorials, you can get gold for them now. You can get up to 1,000 gold doing all 3 of the different tutorials.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so hey, if you're just, looking for that little bit of extra gold to get yourself a hero, you can bust those out if you feel you're too pro for them.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. I'll have to check that. I'm assuming I didn't get that gold because I'm pretty sure I skipped the tutorial the last time we got a reset.
Well, we did it back, when you had to at level 1. When we first got into the game in the alpha. And then when they put it out again in the beta, they did the wipe. We didn't have to redo all that stuff. So There's now gold waiting for all those old players.
So just 1,000 gold just sitting there waiting for me.
Yep, just got to listen to Uther whisper in your ear.
Well, at least the voice acting's good.
He doesn't really whisper, does he? It's all kind of shouting.
It's very commanding and heroes and righteousness and justice. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
Kind of reminds me of Calculon. It's ungodly acting talent.
Oh, jeez. You're so right. Uther is Calculon.
Yep. Skin. Need a skin.
That makes me so happy. Oh, I buy that tomorrow. If you've been listening to us for a while now, a few weeks ago, we discussed a preview for some of the upcoming changes in Heroes of the Storm that Blizzard put up. And the thing that had me the most excited was the changes to matchmaking that were coming very soon. Well, those matchmaking changes have finally come. What they are is that under, quote, most circumstances, a team with no supports will now match versus an opposing team with no supports. Obviously, this rule can be broken by premates because they're not going to force you to have whatever comp it is you want to have. So if you want to have your 5 support team, you can do it. If you want to have your 0 support team, you can do it.
Right, and we've seen the numbers before. They do a really great job of mixing up teams to be, if you have a 5, you go against a 5-man. If you have 3, you're going to go against a team of 3 and a team of 2. So this shouldn't affect all your big games. One thing this does affect, though, is Tassadar's win rate, because he counts as a support still and is going up against other supported teams.
Yeah, I was really hoping when we got this change that we would see some heroes what's the word I'm looking for? Regenerified? Resorted.
Labeled, perhaps?
Relabeled. There you go. Relabeled.
I like genrefied, though.
Because if one team has a Tassadar and the other team has a Rhaegar, that's not the same.
Right, and it kind of makes you wonder the old WoW problem of, is it that supports aren't as much fun as DPS or warriors? Because we heard for a long time we were going to stop having 0 support games, and now they put it out and they say, well, you can still have 0 support games, but both teams are equally as crazy.
I don't know. I feel like this is completely conjecture, which is a nice way of saying it's out my butt. But I feel like most people don't tend to naturally gravitate towards support. I am not one of those people. I do tend to gravitate towards support. Probably because that's just what you taught me to play in the early days of learning how to play Dota 2.
Yeah, well, in that particular carry system, it was rather easy for me to be like, here, just follow me, and I'll do what I can to win us this game.
Right. It was like, well, with the least amount of knowledge, how can I most impact the game? Heal us.
Yeah. And
create
in my Heroes League, people normally pick, DPS first, and then I just assume that they are the best at that DPS, so why shouldn't I support them?
Right, exactly. So that's just my guess, my best guess on the whole thing. And also, I mean, also you think about the mindset, most of us, when we think about a comp in Heroes of the Storm, we think of only one support. Yeah, you can have double support, but bare minimum, it's one support. It's your tank, healer, and damage. So maybe that's why. I don't know. I haven't seen any official numbers saying what people prefer to play, but I would just assume most people would look at like Vala and be like, "Oh, dual wielding crossbows with a hood. She's a badass. I want to play her, not tree hugging Malfurion."
If you had no knowledge of any of these heroes and you're flipping through, I think Malfurion's probably the most passed on hero.
That's funny because I remember getting in and being like, "Ooh, man, I like how they modeled him," but I've logged almost no time on Malfurion.
Right, with his little bunny slippers on, he's looking a little ridiculous.
He's a hippie.
Yeah.
I want a skin
and whatnot.
Yeah, I want a skin where he looks like the crazy wizard from The Hobbit with like the bird poo in his hair and everything.
Oh yeah, the brown.
I can't remember his name for the life of me.
I just remember that was his color.
Yeah. Anyways, speaking of the hot fixes, more hot fixes went live this week. Obviously, Lily's Cloud Serpent bug is the big one. But they also fixed an issue which caused Abathur's symbiote ability to retain their cooldowns after switching symbiote targets.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's great.
This was awful.
I'm really happy that was fixed.
Yeah, you shield somebody, and then you would break it naturally to go help somebody else, and you would pop your symbiote on someone else. You were still dealing with that previous shield cooldown, including all of your stabs didn't have their charges back. You had to wait for all those, so huge nerf. Luckily, it was not an actual nerf.
Yeah. Radagast the Brown. Thank you, chat room.
Ah, there we go.
I knew it was something gassed. I couldn't remember the beginning of the name.
Those are my favorite scenes in those movies.
And I just wanted to call him the Doctor because he was the Doctor.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Which
number one? I want to say number 7. I believe he was the last Doctor of the original run.
Numbers aren't going to help me out. You basically go the angry one, the quirky one. And I've got to that.
Yeah, it's for the original, from the series that started in the 60s and went up until God knows when and then stopped. And then they had a big break before it came back in 2005.
Oh, that guy.
He would have been the last one. So, anyways, doesn't matter. It's not a Doctor Who podcast. Love Doctor Who. Another issue they fixed. They fixed an issue that could allow Kael'thas's living bomb to kill both Murky and his egg. I did not see this happen, and I wish I would have. This sounds amazing.
As brutal as that description is.
Was it just like a link? Like somehow they were just linked? Like some weird code?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was pretty cool.
So living bomb would go off, kill Murky, and his egg on the other ass end of the map would just explode and die.
Naturally, this didn't happen much. Kael'thas was really exciting for a lot of people, and Murky is not a counter to burst damage.
No, he's really not. That said, I mean, Kael'thas doesn't have a really big health pool, so if your egg is close to him, you can just keep running in and poisoning him. I'm sure, it's not so bad.
As long as it's not linking the two together.
Now that it's fixed, it's way better than it used to be. So, last week we mentioned very briefly, because we had a stacked show, the new skin preview that we got that showed a bunch of new skins for Heroes of the Storm, which had in it, of course, the Johanna, the Crusader from Diablo 3 preview. We got more skins preview that are going to be coming out very soon. Some of the skins from last week's preview are already in the game now. So we have Super Sonya, which I was so sad that it wasn't like Super Saiyan. It's more like some like cheesy He-Man kind of thing.
Well, it's comic book, man. When she does her slam, it says slam.
Oh, God. The costume font just looks like He-Man to me. I don't know why.
Well, the swords are arrows, and you've got like this sort of cable-y X-Men look. I mean, it's totally X-Men.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. I wanted like Super Saiyan Sonya, like big golden hair, cool. Like a yellow aura around her at all times.
Pretty much exactly what you do with, is it called the Ancients in Diablo 3? We turn all big and white and massive.
Or is it called Avatar? No. I forget what it's called. I know what you're talking about, though. Haven't played
you're the
Diablo
barbarian
in a while.
player.
Yeah, now I'm the Crusader player. I haven't touched my barbarian like over a year.
True that. And, Mad Martian Gazlo, that thing's great. Still dumb old Gazlo underneath it, but I love the brain. I love the little UFO robots that he puts out.
I love that you said robots.
Well, they are, It's like that weird sort of half-technology Warcraft thing they do.
The Mad Martian Gazlo skin is making me consider getting Gazlo.
He's great on 2 maps, is kind of the problem with him.
That's a very good point.
I'm a really big fan of auto turrets, as I've said before. Venomancer forever, but Dragonshire and Sky Temple, that's where I'd use him. So I haven't picked him up because I'm not going to spend the gold on 2 maps.
Yeah.
Really want Zagara for those reasons, though. Oh, man. Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Get on Zagara, man.
Today.
Get on Zagara. She's so good. She's also amazing on Sky Temple. She can put out so much damage that with the right matchup, I think she's good on any map.
Yeah.
It gets to be an issue with things like Nova or Illidan. Anyone that can catch you out, because if you're caught out off creep, you just kind of die. But
you
love...
really get some business done. Right now, because I have Lost Vikings, Asmodee, and like Avatar, I'm trying to avoid having nothing but specialists. And then when we queue up for games, like, what you got, Kyle? It's like, well, here's my 2 healers, my 2 warrior choices, or 50 specialists you can pick from.
Some specialists are really good, and Zagara is one of them. I frequently pick Zagara in Heroes League. And we're doing something new in strategies this week, Kyle. So we could add Zagara to your list.
Yeah, we should do that actually, because you own her and I don't.
Exactly. We'll get to that a little bit later. Reminder for everyone: if you are in the beta right now, and if you're not, nothing is stopping you. Come on in. The water's fine. The Wonder Billy mount, you can still get it. It's going to go away on June 1st when Heroes goes live, because it's the reward for helping them test out the store. So if you make any purchase in the Heroes store before June 1st, you will get your absurd-looking Wonder Billy mount.
And actually, while we're making little side announcements to the chat room, if you are posting, new player questions, we're totally going to have a segment at the end of the show where we take your questions. I'll grab what I can here. We have some emails as well. So we're going to do some noob-friendly stuff for you all today.
Absolutely. Anyway, so we got a new hype video for the open beta, which showed us some new skins and some new mounts. The new mount, which I don't even know what it's called. I think you and I are just calling it the Dreadsteed for lack of better terminology. It's a big armored undead looking horse.
Yeah, we're not seeing any bones, but right now we are dealing with the Tychus cigar incident. And I think throughout, the launch of Heroes, we're sadly going to see a lot of international choices with our skins.
Yeah. But
Tychus smoking, in certain Asian cultures, China being one of them, a huge market. You're not allowed to depict those, or it greatly increases the rating on the game. So Tychus' cigar, missing from the game. This might be a Dreadsteed, but they've, kind of covered it in ripped up undead fabric, so they don't have to show them bones.
Doesn't Arthas's Army of the Dead, though, show bones? So isn't that kind of debunked? Also, we have a thing called the Grave Golem made out of bones, which we have to go down into a mine full of undead people showing their bones to kill, to collect their skulls, and skulls are also bones.
Much like the undead in World of Warcraft, if you've ever seen those pictures where their skin is kind of smoothed over the bones, take a look at Chinese Stitches. He's got a big, stitch, a patch across where his creepy stomach is for us in America.
Gotcha. Well, that's the thing, is I would expect it to just be different in the other regions. I don't know why our region is getting the smoking patch version of Tychus. I think he's just got a little patch on his shoulder underneath underneath his armor. Right.
With the team possibly struggling to put out content on time, this might just be a choice for now.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever the case is, the mount looks insane, and I need it. It's $10. I'm sure it's going to be $10, and it's $10 I no longer have.
Right, and I don't want to computerize out dudes smoking Marlboros on horseback in my old westerns. So, but what can you do? It's a modern era, international era. At any rate, looks real sweet. Loving the Dreadsteed. But in particular, I have to go with alternative timeline Rainer. Perhaps. Originally, I saw this video. I immediately time-stamped YouTube, shot out a tweet, and was like, oh my god, here he is, Minx. Check him out. And then it's got big old, like, sheriff stars on the shoulders, and he's still holding his gun the same way. He's got a beard. It could be Minx, but I think it's more like it. What if Rainer, followed Minx and became president of Marsara?
I could see that, or just alternate timeline Western Rainer.
Yeah, that too, on his robo horse.
Yeah, exactly. All of them look great. I'm really excited about the Prisoner Tychus skin, because I don't know about you, but I rewatched that StarCraft 2 cinematic for 2 years straight.
Yeah.
Waiting for the game to come out.
Yeah, it's pretty. That one's been actually floating around since BlizzCon 2013.
Something like that, yeah. I remember seeing it. I'm just glad that it's going to be coming out. Really, what I want to know is, where the hell is my Mutalisk Brightwing? I want my Mutalisk Brightwing. Make it happen.
Wait, was that seen somewhere?
No, it was something I suggested like 10 episodes ago, and I still want to see it really bad because all of Brightwing skins are terrible. It's
a great suggestion. I thought you were going to, whip out the old Blizzard Where's My Paladin set for Uther.
That I'm looking for too, because isn't that somewhere even on the site, like in a corner somewhere?
You can find a lot of pictures of that. But yeah, that was part of every single hype video that came out before Alpha release.
Yeah, the Judgment set for Uther. I want it. I want it now. It looked like it was finished.
Something real cool going on with that Amazon Nova skin, or Centurion Nova, whatever's going on here. Clearly, we might be having a theme coming up for another set of maps with the Centurion. What's new here? Johanna.
Johanna. There's an H.
You're breaking my heart. But I'm curious to know, with this Amazon Nova skin, if we're going to get some cool looks at what stealth's going to look like for other World of Warcraft classes. Because she's not going to, the past, wielding a crossbow. She's not going to bring digital out her little butt going with all them crystal techs.
Well, I think when they're already stealth, the effect has to stay the same, because you would need it to look similar across the board, so that regardless of what skin they have, you know what effect you're looking for. But I feel like when she re-stealths, maybe it could be like a smoke effect.
Right, or, if you put out, what's a clone going to look like here? Is it going to pop in smoke, or is it still going to be weird digital teleporting in? And that's going to be odd.
Who knows? We'll have to see. It could be like a Greek cloud effect.
Oh, that'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, there you go. Just don't go God of War on me. I don't want to see needlessly gritty Greek stuff.
Needlessly gritty?
I don't know. God of War, man. It's so over the top. It looks like...
Oh, but that's the fun about it, man. There's all the and the load screens that are disguised by making you press a button over and over to open a damn door.
It's like,
but you know what? That's 2009 for you.
It's like playing a Godsmack music video, the game.
Oh, dude. God of War will always have a very special place in my heart.
I never grabbed me. Never grabbed me.
It had an excellent block mechanic, and it was fabulous. The hardest mode I beat on the first one. When it ended, they gave you a number on the screen to call, and then the voice actor would be like, "Congratulations, you have defeated God of War on the hardest difficulty." No, oh my God, he's on the phone.
I remember hearing about that, yeah. I beat the first one. Anyways, moving along, other news this week. Global Play has been unlocked. You can now freely switch between regions via the Battle.net application. So if you want to go play with your buddies over in Europe, or if you're in Europe and you want to play with your buddies over here in the US, you can do so. Come on over. I haven't tried it yet, though. I'm assuming it's like every other game and you don't have anything unlocked on the other region.
Yep, no friends lists, no account progress, no rewards, and nothing you have purchased.
That's so lame.
Yeah. In the announcement for it, they say you are going to have to deal with the pings associated with playing across the world. So I'm pretty happy with my personal lag. I know a lot of people out there are having problems right now. Maybe I'm just, on the West Coast and lucky me. But I'm not having any problems with lag. I'm happy where I am. So this doesn't affect me. But a shame you can't just pop over to the EU, help fill out that A-Move TV chat channel over there. By the way, there is one in the EU. You should join it.
/join space AMOVETV.
Yep.
Type it in your little chat bar in the lobby. when you're idling in between games, and you'll join the A-Move TV chat room. Got one in the
help
US,
fill it out
got
over
one
there.
in the EU.
Meanwhile, over here in America, it's a bump in place, and thank you everyone who's joined that.
I love it. Thank you for calling it that. Before we move on, we do just have to mention some of the incredibly fun stuff happening in other countries when it comes to Heroes of the Storm. McDonald's in China has just gone full ham on the Nexus. There's photos. We've got links in the show notes over at amove.tv/ITN. Find the post for episode 51 of McDonald's in China just decked out with all kinds of Heroes of the Storm goodies. This makes me so happy.
Oh, it's clearly someone's project. You know, someone in the marketing department probably busted their butts to get this out there. From just a casual onlooker, oh my goodness, ridiculous to see, you know, mainstream Here's the Storm sporting out at McDonald's. No, there's no Happy Meals like that. No, you don't get a free Rainer or anything like that. But this place is wall-to-wall Heroes. Even got a big old grave golem up on the wall. I wouldn't mind visiting here.
Yeah. The other thing, too, I've been seeing Here's the Storm commercials on TV. Have you?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I know you don't watch regular TV, but I also have seen them on Hulu as well as my regular, normal freaking television.
Well, nice.
Yeah.
Get the word out there.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I found out about it from Katie because I came out from doing, I think, Angry Chicken on Monday, and she's just like, is something going on with Here's the Storm? I'm like, well, I don't know, not really why. She's like, oh, I saw a commercial. I'm like, oh, that's because it's officially launching. And she goes, can't everyone that wants to play it already? I'm like, yeah, see, you get it.
And this isn't for us, of course. This is so those people say, Here's the Storm. I think I've heard of that, and then try it out down the road.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Wasn't I in that crazy McDonald's in China? Wasn't I reading Maxim magazine in Korea?
Yeah, that was the other thing is Maxim Korea has a bunch of very attractive ladies in swimsuits on the cover with what looks to be temporary Heroes tattoos.
Right, we can all hope they're permanent, I guess, but
yeah. I don't know about that.
The permanent Maxim Heroes girls.
Yeah.
Again, someone's beautiful pet project here. Seeing the light. I'm sure it's been half a year in the making, and here it is on the Korean issue of Maxim. Missed opportunity, though. You got 3 girls with 3 different hair colors. Really, you should have done, Sylvanas, Vala, and I guess Jaina, yeah.
Don't they all have... Well, I guess Jane is blonde. I was about to say Sylvanas and Vala both are brunettes, though. Aren't they?
We can
guess
dye hair.
Sylvanas
It's Maxim, right?
I guess Sylvanas is white because she's undead.
Either way, missed opportunity.
Yeah. And either way, if you live in Korea, feel free to send me a copy. Thank you. Before we move into this week's strategy section, we want to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/ITN. If you enjoy Into the Nexus and you want to support the show, this is the best way to do it. You can opt in to subscribe for whatever amount you want, and we really appreciate everyone who's supporting us over there. So this week we wanted to thank Jeffrey A., Michael, a.k.a. D-Day. Thanks, D-Day! And Philip D. Thank you guys so much for supporting Into the Nexus. We really appreciate it. Now, it is time to get into this week's strategies.
Choose a talent.
Choose a talent.
Talent? Ah, that seems generous.
And this is your brain on fell magic.
New bumpers! I love them. Make me so happy. So we're doing something different, and it's going to last for a few weeks now. Now that Heroes is an open beta, we are going to be playing heroes that we have little to no experience with, and then exchange our experiences with one another. So this is Kyle and myself. So for the next 4 weeks, each of us will pick a hero we haven't played before, play them, and then report to you guys how our noob experiences have been, and hopefully give you a kind of noob guide into the hero we decided to play.
Yeah, a lot like what we've done in the past with going over these heroes, but a bit more focused on introductory builds and then transitioning into, down the road, what sort of the meta build is for that hero.
Yeah. Sounds good. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
No, let's do a noob rack, because we promised on Twitter we'd be doing a noob rack this week. A lot of people are excited. His win rate's up on hot slogs. His his play's amazing. Them Beatles are chasing people like crazy.
Sir, you promised. I didn't promise anything.
Well, I promised for both of us.
I spoke for you.
The royal we.
Yeah, so the hero I chose to play this week and to be a noob at was a Nubarak, because it just seemed fitting. Actually, now I've been itching to try him again. I played him a little bit at launch. I owned him, like I bought him right at launch and then played him a few games and never touched him again. So with everything that's been going on with him, his change to his beetles so that they are now smart and have fully functioning AI. They don't just wander off wherever. Really wanted to give him a try. So I got in. I wanted a build that was relatively noob friendly. I didn't want a whole lot of buttons to worry about. It's some crazy strategy, or and since I was solo queuing Kyle, I didn't want to have to depend on my teammates to make whatever build I was doing work. So
You avoided Web Blast, basically.
I avoided Web Blast like the plague. So what I did is I went on over to heroesfire.com, started looking at builds. If you're a new player, I highly recommend Heroes Fire. They've got a wonderful build tool and a great voting thing that you can do. You can vote them up and down, see what's top, see what's not so hot, and go take a look. So that's what I did, and I decided to use the bug build from user Mermith, is how I'm going to choose to pronounce that. That's one of the top builds. I think it's extremely noob friendly because basically if there's a talent for your beetles, you take it. And then you just become this marauding beetle czar.
Yeah. Yeah, he's nearly a specialist when you go with this beetle build. It's in fact his ability to heal while his beetles are doing damage and the Locust Swarm ult that makes you a tank.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say it's specialist. He feels really tanky with the beetle build because when you take leeching scarabs at level 7, you get a lot of nice self-healing from your beetles chewing on people.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, before this patch came along, you were very anti-Nubarak.
I was very
I'm curious to know why, or was it just kind of beetles and the AI frustrating you that kept you away from him?
I had bad experiences playing games where you chose a Nubarak.
So it was all my fault.
And not to throw you under the bus. I'm
sure,
it's just being brutally honest. Being brutally honest.
Water under the bridge now.
Yeah, exactly. You played a Nubarak in a lot of games with me. I don't think we won any of them.
No, we did not.
And it just seemed rough. And some of my issues that I have with him still kind of exist. We had a game today where I played with you, Kyle, where we went up against an ETC, and it just felt like, well, I'm just straight up worse than the opposing warrior. There's just no way I can compete because ETC's kit is so much more versatile.
ETC as well as Muradin, Diablo to an extent, but those two tanks really are great at tanking in the early game. A Nubarak, you gotta get to that level 8. Or level 7. You gotta get the Leeching Scarabs, and you can only engage full groups. And by that I mean you can only use your Burrow Charge offensively after level 10 when you have Locust Swarm.
Right. That is the thing I had to learn really fast, was that at any point, especially if I'm pushing a lane, which once you get to 7 and you get your self-healing from your beetles, you totally can push a lane. Even if there's one other opposing hero there, it's not so bad. But I absolutely had to learn very quickly to keep Burrow Charge off of cooldown and just have it ready at the drop of a hat to escape. Because Nubarak's slow, man. He's not going anywhere fast. And if someone gets a drop on you, you need Burrow Charge to survive.
No, and you don't have any block or anything else like that that's going to come in and save you if you do dive and you need to walk your butt out.
No. And as far as warriors are concerned, he has an incredibly small health pool compared to all of his peers. So you just need to be very careful playing your Nubarak. You have to kind of go in with a different mindset from a lot of the other warriors in the game. I'm thinking I might have to do Diablo next week because I've never touched him. I don't even own him.
Ooh, I'm happy to give out Diablo lessons.
Yeah, I was about to say, and I feel like you could really school me on Diablo. I love Locust Swarm as a heroic. It's really cool. And I think if you're just getting into a Nubarak and maybe he's your first warrior, kind of forces you to just do the warrior thing, which is stay in the fight, take hits. Because if you pop it and you're not near anyone, it's not doing a whole lot of good.
It's 8 seconds of intense tanking, and you can get a lot of damage out of it. You're going to get some kills. You're going to tag everyone in the area, so your score screen looks fantastic, frankly.
Yeah, my first game I played with him today, I was top damage. It was nuts. I couldn't believe it.
It's happening right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it was crazy. So I walked away outside of the game that I played against an ETC and just felt terrible. I walked away really surprised by how much I enjoyed Anubarak. He's very fun. Burrow Charge is a very fun ability. I always hammer on, movement abilities. Almost every movement ability in this game is fun, and Burrow Charge is definitely among them. One of the things that you pointed out to me today, Kyle, was that Burrow Charge can indeed go under impassable walls, but if you don't leave enough space on your skill shot arrow on the other side, he will cancel his Burrow Charge as early, which is basically just outside the impassable wall.
Right, you can even swim across gaps like there are in Blackheart's Bay with the, between wooden planks. But if your arrow does not leave room for your fat body on the far end, you will only go so far.
Yeah.
Same thing happens with Zeratul and his blink. There's no room for you.
I haven't tried that on Blackheart's Bay. Please tell me you can actually see an Uberak swimming through the water.
Oh, yeah.
You can?
He doesn't swim. It's just broken. He's just going.
Oh, he's just going.
Just flying.
But he's underwater?
No, he's above water because the water's farther down than the actual ground is.
Oh, damn.
That'd be great if he was actually underwater.
Yeah, like just very quickly swimming.
There's no, effects going off. It's not showing the burrowing happening, which is kind of nice, I guess. Maybe they could add some splashes in the future.
I'd love to see that. Just him underneath. So, I really liked him.
Yeah, well, he brings two interrupts. They're both. The Burrow Charge has a semi-stun when you get to the other side. He's my preferred pick against ETCs right now, but you do have to play really careful throughout the beginning of the game. You have 2 stuns, you have an Impale, and you have a Burrow Charge. There is a very small chance that both those are going to be on cooldown during an engagement, during a mosh pit. Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, when you get mosh pitted, if I can coin that, you're just sitting there. You can't Burrow Charge, so it just feels bad.
Yeah, mosh pit, I feel, got a nerf this past week because of the sound effects they've added. Have really helped me to counter it.
What, you're more aware when it goes off?
Yeah, because you have to watch him intensely, and he'd throw up his hands and do a little head nod, and then it was rock out time. But now you hear the drumsticks, the do 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 do, and you have a couple seconds to process what that sound means.
Oh, awesome!
It's a great auditory cue.
I didn't even realize that. I noticed the new sound when it's actually going off, but I didn't notice the lead-in. So thank you for that tip.
Yeah, very helpful.
One question I have for you: how do you deal with the mana issue with an Uberak? Is there a way to deal with it? Is there an answer? Just play conservatively, use fountains a lot.
Most heroes that have mana issues is because they have one particular ability you're using too much. So you might be using Impale or Burrow Charge when you don't really need to. Hardened Carpus is great. You should be using it all the time. It costs 35 mana. It's going to give you a Scarab.
Yeah, I spam that one. It's probably Impale. I definitely don't use Burrow Charge too much because, like I said, especially in the early game, I always make sure it's available if something bad should happen.
Yeah, Impale can be pretty seductive in the early game. It gets really easily hidden across creeps, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to help clear this lane. But your darn little Scarabs are too weak to really push at that point, so you're just blowing your mana.
Right. Okay, well, that's good to know.
So let's kind of dive into the build here for people looking to play Anubarak. He is free to play this week. He's a great tank, like we just mentioned. Level 1, you're going to be wanting to take Assault Scarabs. It's a passive 25% increase on your Scarabs for damage. Regeneration Master is going to be the preferred tanking spec in a lot of guides you see. The problem with it, if you're a new player, you got to get orbs to even make it worth doing. And for the most part, you'll be getting zoned out. You'll be chasing objectives on certain maps. In general, Assault Scarab is just going to be better.
Yeah, absolutely. And also there are maps where you're just never in lane, like Blackheart's Bay. Really hard to get orbs on Blackheart's Bay. It's tough.
If you happen to be top or bottom lane in Dragonshire, Regen Master's incredible. It's going to help you tank a ton in the early game. Like I was saying, I mean, you are basically stuck being a specialist until level 7, level 10 with this Beetle build. But once that time comes, you can throw down. It's awesome.
Yeah. Level 4, you want to take your Legion of Beetles, which is where every 8 seconds you just spawn a beetle. It's fun. Yep. Level 7, we talked about Leeching Scarabs at length. That's the one that gives you a self-heal anytime your beetles do damage. We already talked about Locust Swarm, the heroic at level 10. Level 13 is the one time I believe you break from beetle talents. No, sorry, that's level 16. Level 13, in this build anyway, recommends taking Symbiotic Armor, which gives your beetles a shield so they last longer.
I disagree with this particular talent. Spell Shield is really great if you're just getting blown away repeatedly by heavy casters, which there are 2 now. So that's going to happen. A Nova is also countered pretty well by Spell Shield if you're getting sniped a lot. But I prefer Burning Rage because it does what you're doing anyway, walking next to people. And then you have your Locust going, and you're standing next to the guy, and they're on fire. There's fire beetles. And it's just, it's nuts. Everything's on fire. It's great against stealthies because they can't walk anywhere near you without being popped out of stealth.
Cool. I'm going to definitely try that. If I play him tonight, which I may do that. Although I may I don't know. Sick of losing the patrons.
We'll see who's on the opposing team.
Sick of losing the patrons. Yeah. Level 16, I've been going Imposing Presence. Attack speed slowed by 50% on anyone who attacks you. And at level 20, Rewind. Yes, I realize Rewind, not the most noob-friendly of talents out there, but it is very good. It is very worth it. Being able to chain stun as absurdly as you can as an Uberak with Rewind, you just have to do it. You just hit number 1, resets all your cooldowns. You can impale and burrow charge a second time after having just done it.
More importantly, every ability you use spawns a Scarab. With Rewind, you are going to be swimming in these guys. It's awesome. If you're a new player, Hive Master's great. It's going to add to some healing, give you a permanent little Locust. That's really going to increase your tanking dramatically as you go up to level 25 in a long, long game.
Yeah. So who did you play this week?
I played Brightwing, and this is someone who I've been avoiding because I just don't really get it. And I know that's weird because I'm really into a lot of heroes. I feel like I have to. I'm sitting on 12,000 gold right now, but I feel like I have to get Brightwing. It's just such a strong counter to Illidan's, to Thralls, to really any sort of dive mechanic team. I have my Uther. I've got Malfurion. I don't have Lily, but you know what? I'm filling those roles with Uther Malfurion. But Brightwing is really the hole in my support comps right now.
I believe it. I believe that. Brightwing is one of my favorites. I love her. Even though she has the worst skins in the game, which I'm just going to keep touting until a good skin is made for Brightwing.
She is complicated. And for me, almost 90% of the complication comes from the way her mount works, because there is none.
No, there isn't. You either have to pixie dust yourself to move 20% faster for 3 seconds, or you just have to wait for what the hell is it even called? Why can't I think of the name? Teleport, right? Just teleport?
Yeah, your Z.
Your Z, yeah. Why is it not in this guide that I'm currently looking at? Because I cannot remember the damn name.
Phase shift.
Phase shift. Thank you. Was that chat room?
No, that was me.
That was just you. Okay, phase shift. Well, phase shift reads teleport to an allied hero. So, whatever. That's your Z ability. It is on a 30-second cooldown, which feels like a lifetime. Especially depending on the map. Obviously, if you're Brightwing on, say, Tomb of the Spider Queen, not as big of a hindrance. But if you're Brightwing on Sky Temple or Garden of Terror, it is forever. But really, I feel like if you're going to Brightwing for the very first time, the thing I would want to talk to someone about, Kyle, is how you move.
Yeah, I feel like I want to be everywhere. I want to stay with teams, but I just move naturally slower because I can't mount up and stick with them. So instantly I'm having all these feelings like maybe I should soak a lane and then join up when the time comes. But which person's right to join? And
That is true. I mean, a lot of the times the map will dictate it for you. If you're on Cursed Hollow, tribute pops, you just join the fight. On Blackheart's Bay, chest pop, which guy isn't currently getting completely destroyed, go help the guy that is.
right, one of the things I need to learn to do with my Brightwing is be skill intensive. Just let them fly freely, not worry about my mana, hearth back and port back in.
Yeah, because of her trait, Soothing Mist, which is her only heal, unless you take Blink Heal later on, which we'll talk about that later. Soothing Mist just happens passively. You just pulsate a small heal every 5 seconds around you. And that's why I wanted to talk about how she moves. You want to always make sure you're close to somebody so that your Soothing Mist trait is actually getting heals off. And you're helping heal friends and your teammates. The sustain that comes with a Brightwing in lane, like if you lane with another person, say an assassin that's getting in everyone's face and getting hurt, the sustain is ridiculous. It's one of the things I hate seeing in this game the most is anyone and a Brightwing in my lane. It's just like, great. We just shouldn't bother attacking because they're always going to be almost fully healed.
Yeah, this isn't going anywhere. That being said, that's my next biggest problem with Brightwing is I die a lot because I'm up in people's business. I'm moving like maybe an Uther or a Rhaegar even because I have to be next to people keeping in that range. But if I get targeted, I feel like I have few options.
Pixie Dust.
Yeah,
Pixie
dive on
Dust is
out.
your get out of jail free card. Also Polymorph if you haven't used it. Say an Illidan dives on you, polymorph him and just run away laughing. But really the thing is you want to stay behind your team as best as you can. Obviously you have to get kind of close to the enemies to polymorph them, but the second you see that spell effect go off, get back. You've done your job. Polymorph and run.
So my next biggest problem is the same one I had with Uther. The optimum healing build requires you have a lot of buttons.
Okay, so what is the optimal healing build? Let's take a look at all the talents. Because I don't have a build for Brightwing I am married to.
Okay, interesting. So she's kind of special that way.
For me.
I feel like,
for me.
yeah.
Also, she's not my main support. So it's not like I have it locked down exactly how I want to build her. I kind of just go into a game with an open mind and build however I want. And it usually works out. I have a really good win rate with Brightwing. I believe.
Well, here, I'll ask my first question because this will lead us into it. Bribe. It's a level 1 talent. It's on Brightwing for some reason, and it's awesome. I love having a Brightwing on my team. Randomly go take an aggressive camp.
It is very hard not to take bribe.
But I have such a low movement speed. You know, I feel very exposed when I have to go get these things. I'm going out of my way. I'm not really sure when to take the camps.
Well, map awareness comes into a big play there. Usually if you have phase shift off cooldown and it's relatively safe to go take a camp, I just go take a camp.
Phase shift, got it.
Yeah, because then you can just join the fight again real quick. It's particularly fun to do later on in Cursed Hollow matches. Not Cursed Hollow. What's the word? Why can't I can't think right now, Kyle. Grave Golem.
Haunted Mines?
Haunted Mines. Later on in Haunted Mines, when you don't need your own siege giants to defend, because say the golem has already pushed past your first fort, it is really fun when mines go up. Everyone runs down to the mines. You just go over, get your own siege giants, cap them, and then port down into the mines and join the fight.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Don't do that early on because you'll piss everyone off. Everyone will be like, what? We need the giants to defend. But later on, once the golem is past that point, do it. It's fun.
Nice. Okay, so I think level 1 has, shield dust. It's going to increase the number of basic attacks blocked by 1. There's really nothing else in here that's as good as bribe. So I would say just take bribe.
I would say scouting drone is next highest on my list. I really do like scouting drone, and depending on the matchup and the map, I may take it. But yeah, usually I'd go bribe. It's an extra button, not the most noob friendly, but Hey, you gain stacks of bribe passively, so it's not something you really need to worry about until you have enough stacks to go take mercs. And then you feel like a total boss because you just got mercs for free.
Now, level 4. In Venom, we're adding another button already.
I usually go anti-magic powder, and it's definitely what I would recommend for a new player.
Block a instance of spell damage by 50%.
Yes.
Sounds pretty good.
It's great, and you don't need to worry about another button. Anytime you pixie dust someone, you cut the damage of the next spell that's done to them by half. So,
all right, well, at least I can understand level 7, which is Regenerative Rains. Whenever you activate an ability, you automatically heal everyone for your area, 50%?
Yes.
For the 50% of the heal, not 50% health. That'd be insane.
That'd be, yeah, absolutely absurd. No, you get an extra soothing mist that does half the healing. I love that one. Almost always take it. Cleanse is really good if you're not afraid of extra buttons. You know, if there's an ETC on the other team, a Vol that went Rain of Vengeance, anyone that has some type of persistent lockdown, Cleanse is wonderful. It is, however, an extra button, so if you're a new player, maybe don't worry about it right now.
It's really hard to use, in my opinion.
There's a lot to learn with Brightwing. With Brightwing, you need to learn how to move, and you need to learn when to use Phase Shift. There's two really big things that is specific to Brightwing, I feel. It's not like Uther, I have to pretend there is a tether on the hero I'm trying to heal. I can just Holy Light them when they need a heal and go upon my merry way. With Brightwing, I'm basically leashed to whoever it is I'm trying to raise the hit points of.
All right, level 10. Blink Heal seems the obvious choice. It's the one heal you can really control.
Yeah, Emerald Wind, very popular. You're going to see it a lot in tournament games, but if you're a new player, Blink Heal, I think, all the time. Not only is it just a good heal, which it's a big chunk of healing, which is something that Brightwing lacks. If you get into a big team fight, Soothing Mist isn't doing a whole lot because it's just these small heals every 5 seconds, whereas Blink Heal is this big chunk of health. You don't need to worry about it. The range is huge. You teleport to the person when you do it, which can be a bad thing if you're trying to heal people who are in the middle of the fight. But it can also be used as an escape mechanism. So if you do get caught out, you said you were dying a lot, Kyle. If you get caught out, you could port to someone, a friend, a teammate that is more in a safe area and save your bacon.
Definitely.
I
had some great runs from an Illidan with this thing, eventually falling, but managed to keep a couple people alive and run the Illidan in multiple directions.
Yeah.
Level 13's a doozy.
13 is the one where I just feel like you could throw a dart. Whatever you like here, take it. I don't have a strong opinion. I like Sticky Flare. Sprint's great if you're having trouble staying alive. If you're a new player, I'd just stay away from Ice Block. I'm never sure when to use it. I'm still not sure when to use it. And then Phase Shift is cool. But Phase Shield. Phase Shield.
Right. When you teleport to someone, you give them a temporary shield. For the most part, though, you'll probably be joining pushes, not so much joining fights. So I think you're right in Sticky Flare. Keep things simple. Ice Block is great for assassins who can get it because you're going to be a target and you can turn yourself off and you're not losing anything but damage. Turning Brightwing off is a bit more of a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say Sticky Flare is Sprint for a new player here.
Now, 16, I think we can all say Critterize.
Critterize. Just take Critterize. Don't look back.
Polymorph takes 25% more damage, does that little breaky shield thing. Everyone knows to attack it by this point.
Yeah, it makes the target of your Polymorph vulnerable. They take 25% more damage, and they just melt. It's wonderful. And then 20, I like Rewind. Again, extra button. Storm Shield's really freaking good. If you took Blink Heal, go ahead and go for Ysera's Blessing.
Oh, Ysera.
I don't think you could go wrong with anything really here.
Other than taking too many buttons.
Well, exactly. If you're, again, new player, worried about extra buttons, maybe just go for Ysera's Blessing.
Right, and my strategy always is to go all passives and then work my way up. It's really the reason why Lost Vikings are so difficult is because their passives just make characters of the three more unique and increase their difficulty. And the main build to do them with is an ability build where you're adding, again, 3 buttons on top of managing 3 heroes.
Yeah. Lost Vikings. Oh, man. Free Lost Vikings week. Make it go away.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to doing some Brightwing after the show here.
Absolutely. She's a great hero. A wonderful, wonderful support to have in your stable.
The healing is absurd. I rarely get out of a game without over 100,000 healing.
That's because you're just doing it without thinking. It just happens. Yep. You don't need to worry about it.
I just know to stay in people's areas.
So, well, very cool. So hopefully, folks, you enjoy this. I'm not sure what heroes we'll do next week. I'm debating Diablo.
Sounds good to me.
I think I might go Diablo. Have to buy them first, but it's fine. Anyways, Kyle, let's round the show out with some emails, shall we?
Sounds good.
Darkness stopped calling.
Darkness just texted me.
It's not the MOBA, it's a hero brawler!
No, it's a MOBA. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. Kyle, you want to do something a little different this week?
Yeah, we have a lot of new listeners. There's a lot of new players out there, so we're going to do some short little emails. A lot of you wrote really great emails, and we've condensed them down to simple questions. In fact, we've taken 3 rather lengthy emails and condensed them to basically a single question here. And
they got a little more than they bargained for.
Yes.
So let's kick it off. Alex, Saint JW, and Micro13 all asked very similar questions, asking us to discuss the basics of when and where to engage and also disengage. And I believe it was Saint JW even asked us to specify as a support, when do you get in the fight? When do you just hang out in the back and throw heals? So we'll get into it. So Kyle, as a warrior, as our resident warrior player, when do you engage and when do you run away?
Well, so you have your 3 roles. Specialists, we're just going to kind of leave out of this talk for a bit. They're weird. Each one is unique. They involve sight, pushing, taking down forts, whatever. Those are their own bag of tricks. But it basically comes down to warriors. Your job is you are choosing what engagements you have and who is going to be controlled the most. Assassins, you're choosing who dies first. And support, you're choosing who lives. So when do you engage and disengage? As a warrior, it's when you have a good engage and you think you can get a kill off, or you're trying to save somebody.
Yeah, that's when you would engage. As for disengaging, what's your rule? For me with a warrior, it's just when I am definitely going to die if I stay where I currently am.
There's always the chance that you can pump out a little bit of damage and your corpse will fly past your enemy's corpses. So it's a tough choice to completely walk away from a fight as a warrior. I like to imagine that every time I get into the business, except for someone like a Nubrak who has a good escape, that I'm there until I die. Particularly if we're ahead level. And that's the main deciding factor here. If you're even or ahead, you can pretty much engage until you're dead.
Yeah, fair enough. I tend to walk away if I know I'm definitely going to die. Unless, like you said, it's like everyone's solo. It's like, I'm just going to stay. It's okay if I die because we're probably going to get 3 kills to my 1.
Exactly. The other thing to look for is mistakes, because that's one of the primary things you have to capitalize on as a warrior. You can control the tank, picking up ETCs, pushing them away from the rest of the group, maybe defending the group from a rather aggressive tank. But what you really want to be doing is stunning and highlighting targets. And that's something Diablo is really great at. Pick them up, slam over yourself, push them back, and everyone knows, ooh, that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Target picking. Calling the shots.
Assassins, you should engage when you think you have a kill. And as long as you're ahead, and maybe you can even, maybe there's a chance, it's worth it to at least try when you're ahead to get that single kill out. You should never be engaging in any group that is smaller than yours.
That's a really good rule. I like that. If you are in a quick match and you're new to this game and you somehow have separated yourself from your team and you see the team engage, you should probably just get up there and join the fight.
Yep.
That's another good one.
It's important to note, if you're moving over to this game, the shared XP means that despite your contributions as an assassin in the early game, you are not any stronger than anyone else. For the most part, you can never sandwich an enemy team. You can't have your whole team in front and then you walk around the back and destroy everyone. It's not going to happen.
No, unless there is a huge level disparity, in which case everyone attacking from the same direction would have worked anyway.
And I think you'll understand when those times come. When you're 4 levels ahead and you feel like God, it's okay to do whatever the heck you want.
Yeah, just don't do anything too crazy and allow the other team to catch up out of nowhere. So
right, remember, you're choosing who dies as a team.
Yeah. As for disengaging, my rule is when the warrior dies.
It's pretty decent.
As an assassin, if I see the warrior go down, I'm just like, oop, well, I'm out. If I see the support go down, I start staying a little further back, but I'll usually still stay in the fight. Obviously, depending on what hero I'm playing. If I'm ranged, I'll start positioning myself a little more towards the back.
Sure, there's an important distinction to make there, because if the healer dies, he probably got bursted down if you're equal levels, and that means some talents are on cooldown for the enemy. It might be worth it to continue to fight. You're going to get some kills because those ults were just blown. If the healer is out of mana, though, you should back, and that's something a lot of people need to learn to do. In fact, when I play Uther or Malfurion, right now I'm doing builds without Regeneration Master. Or Conjurer's Pursuit, I guess it would be. Collecting orbs, it's not very viable on every map. No. And frankly, I really like taking the range and scouting drone on those 2 heroes. So I shoot out a message when I start the game that says, watch my mana in the early game.
That's good. That's good. And then as for support, kind of similar to the assassin, at least if you're solo queuing, if you see an engage happen, you should absolutely be there. There really is no excuse. You shouldn't be pushing a lane by yourself while the rest of your buddies are engaged in a team fight.
Right, and as support, it's your job to let the team know when you're out of mana. Just typing OOM out of mana is going to really help out people who want to engage, knowing, well, if I dove into this, we're not ready. Excuse me. Other than that, watch your team's mana as support, because there's no point in healing up that Kael'thas who has 0 mana. What's he going to do, auto attack? You got him topped off. The Kerrigan dies. She could have gone for another half hour.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, the support, it's interesting. I feel like the support is they're like the last ones out. Like you're kind of you're kind of expected to stay in and keep everyone alive until everyone has either retreated or you are victorious and are pushing forward.
And remember to watch for cues from the tank, because as assassin, you may pick off a squishy in the background. Your Valas, your Janas, you might just straight up own them with whatever ability you have. As a support, you have the best CCs. I mean, you have Uther Stun, you have Polymorph, you have Roots, which is pretty darn good. But these are all follow-ups to the tank's decision. You aren't calling shots. You don't get to run out there and Uther and go, this guy, Huang, and no one's going to back you up, and you've just exposed yourself to the whole front line.
Unless you're a pre-made 5-man and I am on your team playing Uther, because I do that all the time.
Which is fine, because I'm right behind you with Diablo in that case.
Yeah. So, as for some general when to engage and disengage overall, regardless of what you are playing, you already mentioned, keep an eye on the abilities that your enemies use. If all of their stuff is on cooldown, you should probably stay in. However, if the opposite of that happens, say someone gets bursted down but it's by a hero like Illidan, someone where their cooldowns don't mean jack because they can just keep fighting and keep killing you. So if you lose someone really early to say something like an Illidan, and there's still an ETC on the other team, and you know they have a mosh pit up, you should probably just back. If you're down 1 already and you know the opposing team has a huge crowd control ability just lying in wait, I would back off. More cases
The easiest thing to do is, honestly, if you haven't seen the ult disengage, assume they already have it.
Right.
Kael'thas and his freaking Phoenix. 40-second cooldown. It's madness. It's always ready. If it is not currently out in a bad spot, it's about to be out.
Still haven't played much with it. I need to do that.
It's really the preferred choice right now. The level 20 talent where you can move the darn thing is just too good.
I just love watching my giant pyroblast orb just slowly make its way over to someone, and they just die. It's
great.
Just a delete button. I love it.
Yeah, it's fun for sure. But, Uthers, but nice Rhaegar heals, those counter it. And plus, there's the surprise of, oh, I'm in Heroes League. I'll draft the Uther to stop that Kael'thas Pyroblast. He skips it. He goes an area effect, which I'm not so good at.
Oh, jeez. Any final thoughts on engagement/disengagement?
Watch your levels. That's going to be the most important thing, really. 2 levels behind in this game is a powerful lead that the enemy has.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. We had some rough games this afternoon where that happened.
It's the way it goes. For the most part, if you fall 2 levels behind in the early game, just hold off everything you can until 10. You may be able to get some nice combos with those ults. Otherwise, just play safe, and it's tough to do.
Yep. William wrote in and asked, what is the best offensive Malfurion build? I'm deferring to you, Kyle.
All right, I love this thing. And I rarely get to do it. Every once in a while, I'll end up in some weird double support Malfurion situation, and I get to enjoy the Moonfire late game spam. And that's when you're at level 13, you take full Moonfire, which increases the radius by 50% and reduces the mana cost by 10. And then level 16, you take Lunar Shower, where you reduce the cooldown every time you shoot a Moonfire, and it increases the damage by 10%, stacks up to 3 times. So you're just spamming this wong, light from the heavens, destroying people. It's a blast. There are some great healing talents. In fact, you have to avoid Shrink Ray in this particular case, so it doesn't always happen. For the most part, if you're looking to be an offensive Malfurion, it's not going to happen without an additional support, at the very least a Tassadar on your team, or maybe a Tyrande.
Yeah, I've barely played Malfurion, so I don't have much to say on it. This sounds absurd.
You do a lot of damage. It really surprises people. Twilight Dream is his other ult. After a short delay, basically standing there sort of doing a dance. You throw out a wave in a short area around you, doing damage, pretty good damage too, and silencing for 3 seconds. It'll really mess up an enemy team, but if any stunt hits you, or really anything knocks you aside while you're trying to do that little dance, you're reset for 8 seconds. And you had to expose yourself once again to the front line, walking in there.
And you don't want Malfurion exposing himself.
No, and you get to cast all your spells. You get to auto-attack while Tranquility's on. Lily gets her darn cups interrupted if she gets hit by anything. Meanwhile, you can be a frickin' flying pig. You can be just getting destroyed, and Tranquility will continue to work. It's an amazing spell.
Yeah. It is ridiculous. Absolutely insane. Had some questions from chat. And chat, if you have more questions, feel free to ask them now. Patrons also asked, just starting out, should I play matchmaking or just play against the AI?
That's a good question.
All right, let me crack my knuckles and tell you exactly how I learned how to play any hero. I buy the hero, I play 1 game against AI just to get the feel for it. Then I just start playing quick matches. Because that is what quick match is for. People can deal with me being absurd. Because I have to deal with other people being absurd in quick match. I personally think you learn a lot faster playing against real people.
They move in very unique ways, and more importantly, they get upset and emotional. And computers never do that. If you see a computer head off your lane, he's probably going to go in a straight line to wherever he's off to. You could hit him with an Asmodan dunk, or all these other sorts of spells that are really easy to do on computers. And there's a lot of people who get married to that. Plus, over time, if you spend too much time in co-op fighting computers, you're just going to get ladder anxiety. You're going to be too scared to head over and fight real people. And you know what? The MMR right now, surprisingly, with open beta, is pretty decent. Quick match is not a horrible place like I assumed it might be.
Yeah. It's absurd. I mean, there's some silly stuff going on down there, but right now, it just opened up. Beta is just now open to everyone for the first time. So, no excuse. Just get in there. This is the time, man. Get weird. Try new things. Just get in quick match. Don't worry about judgment.
We got another one here from Bone Stealer.
Bone Stealer's ready.
I love that. That's the saw with the aluminum foil on it.
Yep.
Props department.
He said, as a player leveling up to 30, should I only focus on learning champions who are the best in Hero League? That's a hard one for me to... my honest answer, yes. Just learn good heroes. But I feel like that's somewhat subjective. Or that's an objective thing. For the most part. Like, if I was giving someone advice in a vacuum, I would just be like, maybe not, don't worry about Abathur right now. Maybe don't worry about Murky right now. But if Murky is your jam, you really want to play Murky? Play Murky. If you want to be a really freaking amazing Abathur player, you want to be Mr. Map Control, you know exactly where to put your symbiote, you know where to throw your locust, you know where to put your little bomb nests, do it. Don't listen to me. I'm a jerk.
Right. The problem is you are investing. I'm being the counterpoint here. This is kind of weird. You're investing a lot of time that requires a specific group comp. And Abathur is a great example of this. Tyrande is one of these that you can, really get into, but picking her in a Heroes League match is going to leave the rest of the team going, okay, what now? Same with Novas and Zeratools. If the enemy team picks a Tassadar in the first picks, those aren't good picks to have. Or if you're only good at one hero, you're going to get the Heroes League, enemy team picks it, you're kind of out of luck. So the best thing you can do is decide what roles you want to fill, what roles you like to fill, and then give yourself options.
Yeah, and I feel like from now until the end of days, if you just want to get started in Hero League, there is very rarely someone just jumping to the front of the Hero League in the party chat and being like, "I'll do support, guys." So if you want to make sure that you will be able to fill the role that you want to fill, I feel like support's a safe bet.
Right. Now, this show, we're going to date ourselves now. It is open beta day, so what the heck? Let's go ahead and run down picks that just are always good right now. Diablo, ETC, always good tanks.
Yep. For support, Uther, Brightwing. Lily's not terrible.
Lily's great. A great introductory character.
Yeah. If you're a new player, Lily. I know I gave her a lot of crap, but it's all about the Lily.
If you're looking to get your assassin on, your safest bets are going to be some of the more squishy ones. Vala is excellent. She has escape. She has basically everything you're going to need to clean up. Yeah, Jaina right now is the caster easy mode equivalent of Kael'thas.
Yeah,
you have a slow, you have a lot more range than he's going to have.
But Kael'thas is marked as easy.
I know, right? Could they be wrong?
He should not be marked easy. Trying to think of a third assassin. Who would I recommend?
Honestly, I think Thrall is great for beginning.
I was going to go with Thrall. I really like Thrall. I'm not sure for beginning, though.
He fills a role that is much needed in a lot of Hero League's comp, which is that secondary melee hero. Uther can also fill that role. Just something else when the tank is being ignored to just be in people's business.
Yeah.
He has self-sustain. His very first talent allows you to get mana back on your Chain Lightning. It's a really good choice.
Yeah. Any supports or specialists you feel like you'd recommend, or is it too much of a wild card?
I feel like a lot of new players gravitate towards Gazlo because he can be so defensive and have such a strong lane presence. You really need to have high map awareness because you have very little health and escape. I think
Nazebo's still pretty good.
Yeah, you're going to be trapping people in zombie walls, and that's not a very welcome sight for a lot of people. Zagar, you're going to have to be on top of creep. Asmodan, you have to be on top of your General of Hell, and people are going to expect you to land dunks. It's not really a good place for new heroes.
No, not the best.
I think Nazebo. And in fact, let's go ahead and say this. If you're going to pick Nazebo, your zombie wall circle fits perfectly on top of enemy walls. That's really the best place to use it, because if you have a teammate who's going to lock himself next to enemy towers, well, that's his own damn fault because he was standing there.
Yeah, Chatmer mentioned Raynor multiple times for Assassin, and I'd be hesitant to recommend him just because of his piercing round pushing away the target that it hits, you can really fudge up a kill for your team.
Rainer's very confusing because Adrenaline Rush is a very noob-friendly ability. It automatically activates. It heals you for 30% or a flat damage when you're below 30%, and you can really save your life. In fact, I love having him as sort of a secondary assassin tank. Problem is, you have an extremely high range, which you're going to mess up easily because it's not a very apparent ability as to who you're hitting, and then penetrating round is going to mess you up. You have to be really on top of what Assassin does, which we mentioned earlier, is choosing who dies.
Right, absolutely. If you can get past piercing rounds pushback, I feel like you can totally go Rainer. But just be aware that when you hit your target with piercing round, they will be pushed back a significant amount. So if that will make them live and aid their escape, don't do it. So
yeah,
I usually don't piercing shot unless I know it's going to kill them. So, or if I'm on the other side of them and I'm pushing them towards my team, but that's hard to do on Rainer. He's not exactly fast.
No, he's not.
Until later in the game when you get the Inspire talent.
Which is what makes him easy. And I think that's actually what makes Kael'thas easy, is so many of his talents augment abilities he already has. You're not getting additional buttons with Rainer for the most part.
Yeah. I like Rainer. He's good. I just I feel like I'd recommend Vala definitely to a new player over Rainer for an assassin. So that's going to do it for this week's show. Patrons, hang around because we'll be filling out an after-show game right after this. Thanks again to you patrons. If you want to become one, head on over to patreon.com/ITN. Also, thanks to those of you who are leaving us reviews in the iTunes store. It's another great way to help out the show for free. You can head on over there, drop us a review, tell us that you like the show. Thank you for that. This week, thank you to Skeletor1205, thank you to Okrin, and thank you to Toralot. We appreciate the reviews. Into the Nexus is produced by amove.tv and Declan H. You can see more about this and all of the other AMove shows over at amove.tv. Our email is itncast@gmail.com, and our subreddit can be found over at itncast.reddit.com. Catch us live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/amovetv and over on alphageekradio.com. Our Twitter is at ITNcast, and big thanks to BrianGriffithMusic.com for our intro music. Kyle, where can folks find you when you're not heroically defending, well, the Nexus?
You can find me over on Twitter at Kyle Ferguson. You can find me at kyleferguson.com, where I put up a new Dungeons & Dragons article. This one's about picking your player base and categorizing your players to make the best story. And you can now find me on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. streaming on twitch.tv/amovetv, 1 p.m., and that is solo Q&A. So show up. I'll be playing quite a few games, streaming those, answering questions that come in the chat, and pretty much explaining all my thought processes behind what I'm doing in game.
I think it's really great. I was so excited when I saw you doing this, so definitely go check it out, folks. Again, that's on twitch.tv/amovetv. Follow the channel, and you'll get a little alert in your email every time a show goes live, including Kyle's Heroes of the Storm solo Q&A. Which I love the name of.
Check the VOD of it. It's up on amove.tv. Got my builds there I used.
Yeah.
So steal them, use them. It's good stuff.
You can find it on our YouTube, which is youtube.com/StarcastShow, if you guys didn't know, because we can't change the name of it, damn it. So it'll still be /StarcastShow. But all of the old Into the Nexus VODs are on there. Kyle's VOD. Go check it out.
Hey, just Google it. AMove TV YouTube. You get there.
Yeah, you find it. Find me on Twitter at GarrettArt. You can also find me on nomoonart.com, which is my graphic design portfolio. I'm a freelance graphic designer. Go check it out if you need some designs. And check out The Angry Chicken, podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. Also, just because we aren't running ads at the top doesn't mean our sponsors' codes aren't any less awesome. Go to doghousesystems.com and use the code ITN to get a 120 gigabyte solid-state drive added onto your already amazing gaming PC. And you can also use the code ITN over at tweakedaudio.com, where will get you 30% off and free shipping on your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds from Tweaked Audio. So we thank them for the support. Go check them out. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next week for episode 52 of Into the Nexus. Good luck and have fun.
Take care.